College football fans, welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the only channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. If you are a fan who has been lost in the college football wilderness, if you've been searching for a channel that acts as a gathering spot, a safe haven, a safe zone, then welcome home. The Touchdown Black and Gold vlog was created for college football fans just like you. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks, and today I have a very special quick episode. This is my instant reaction and recap to the updated college football playoff rankings, which were unveiled last night. This is the second session or week 2 of those college football rankings. And I just wanted to give you and provide you with my analysis and whether I agree or disagree with what the College Football Playoff Committee has set on our plates and put on the dinner table in front of us. And if this is your first time watching the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, I welcome you. And for those of you who are returning, I also thank you for your continued support, your time, your attention. Everything is trending upwards for the channel, but I need your help to find more college football fans just like you. So please like, share, subscribe, comment. And as I always say, these episodes are driven by you. Let your college football voice be heard. I always welcome, appreciate, and ask for your insight, for your participation. So please, based on any of my analysis, opinion, or insight, please get involved, comment below, and I promise I will get back to each and every one of you individually much sooner than later. And it is an absolute pleasure for me to be here with you, sharing my love for all things college football with you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and break this down quickly. So I am just going to focus on the updated top 10 in the college football playoff rankings. So this is what the committee unveiled last night. So we'll start off at number 10. At number 10, they have the Penn State Nittany Lions, then followed at number 9 by the Ole Miss Rebels. Number 8 is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Number 7 is the Texas Longhorns. Number 6 are the Oregon Ducks. Number 5, the first team out of the top 4, was the Washington Huskies. So the top 4 were completely the same, unchanged as last week. But to review, this is how the dominoes fell. At number 4 was Florida State, the Seminoles from the ACC. Number 3 from the Big Ten, the Michigan Wolverines. Number 2, the Georgia Bulldogs from the SEC. And still claiming to the number 1 spot from the Big Ten, the Ohio State Buckeyes. So, a little bit of change from last week, but not much in the eyes of the committee. Now, when you ask me, when I was watching this unfold last night, I do have a little bit of issue with primarily where these teams are ranked. I have 9 of those 10 teams. I think they got them right. There's only one team that I believe should be in the top 10 that the committee does disagree with my opinion on. So for the most part, the teams at least are properly in the top 10, but I do have a little bit of an issue where they are ranked. And if this is your first time watching, obviously I am a Iowa Hawkeye fan, born and raised, even though I currently reside in the show me state of Missouri. So you might be thinking that he's just some Hawkeye Homer Simpson or some Homer Big Ten fan. I can be completely objective. I basically say what I mean and mean what I say. So for any of you who are doubting me as far as where I am, because first and foremost, I am a college football fan. Iowa came in last night ranked number 22, and point blank, Iowa has no business being ranked in the top 25. the team with the worst offense in all the land. So there's no way that Iowa should be ranked. Just because they sit atop of a Power 5 conference division, the Big Ten West, nowhere is it written that teams must be ranked because of if they're leading a division. Nowhere is that written down. That is not a rule. Just like it's not a written rule that, hey, this conference or that conference needs to have X amount of teams ranked to fill the quota. These are not written rules. So I'm saying right now, Iowa fans, agree, disagree with me, but I'm telling you, we have no business being ranked. We're the laughingstock of college football offensively. Yes, if we keep winning, we should be ranked. But quite frankly, point blank as well, I'm picking Rutgers to come into Kinnick Stadium Saturday and defeat and upset our Iowa Hawkeyes. So that might offend some of you. No disrespect. That's just my opinion. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So let's get to where I would rank the top 10. Now, starting off, like I said, 9 of the committee's 10 teams, I agree, should be in the top 10. Now, the one disagreement that I have actually is my number 10 team. The committee has one loss, Penn State, who has a big time matchup this weekend against Michigan. My number 10 ranked team, even though they are 7-2, I've got the Oklahoma State Cowboys from the Big 12. Currently, the committee has them ranked number 15. I think they are vastly underranked. Yes, they do have a bad early season loss at home in Stillwater against the South Alabama Jaguars of the Sun Belt. But when you look at their resume, Oklahoma State has wins over ranked Kansas, ranked Kansas State, and ranked Oklahoma. I mean, they have one of the best resumes in the entire nation. I think teams and people are sleeping on the Pokes of Oklahoma State, and they control their own destiny. Based on what they've done, if they simply just win out, they're going to punch their ticket to the Big 12 title game. So I think people are really sleeping on Oklahoma State. And that reminds me, I said the word resume. That is the things that I believe even though it's not maybe always, crystal clear, there's certain criteria that the College Football Playoff Committee should take into account when they rank these teams. And I follow that exact same criteria myself. I'm looking at the resume as far as who have these teams played, who have they beaten, maybe who have they lost to, and within that, also those opponents, who have they played, right? Because if you are currently sitting there 9-0, but you've played nobody, and then worse, they've played nobody, it doesn't really give you a lot of solid ground to stand upon, all right? So I'm looking at resume. I'm looking at, the eye test. How do they look overall on the field? And I'm also looking at a big one is head to head, okay? So number 10 to me should be the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Number 9, I also like Ole Miss, just like the College Football Playoff Committee does. I've got them at number 9, and Ole Miss currently sits there at 8-1, their only loss at Alabama. Now, number 6 through 8, this is where I have a little bit of disagreements with the committee, all right? This comes down to who are the best one-loss teams in the nation, all right? So at number 8, I actually have the Oregon Ducks at number 8. I love this team. They're playing excellent football. I've said throughout this entire year that the Pac-12 is the toughest conference to get through, that has lived up to its hype. I mean, that's held serve, but they are starting to kind of cannibalize themselves. Now, Oregon, their only one loss they have is a final minute loss at current undefeated Washington by 3 points, I believe is what it was. So not a bad loss at all right? But when you look at their resume, their really only good victory was at Utah. And yes, Utah is a solid team, an average to solid Utah team, not a great Utah team. And they absolutely embarrassed those guys up in Salt Lake City. But that's what a lot of people are kind of giving Oregon credit for. I think they're holding on to that a little bit too much, because other than that victory and that close call against Washington, they really haven't faced a lot of competition in the Pac-12. They haven't. All right. Now, if they continue to win, if they win out and they happen to knock off, let's say, Washington or somebody else in the Pac-12 title game, they will absolutely have that potential to move up my rankings. And that's one thing that all of these teams will have the ability to do, to either rise or fall based on what the next 3 weeks bring us. All right. So I think Oregon is a little bit too high. I've got them at number 8. Number 7, I've got the Alabama Crimson Tide. The committee has them number 8. I like Alabama in the 7 spot. When you look at their resume, okay, once again, they have a good number of quality victories. Like I said, the aforementioned, they defeated Ole Miss, defeated a ranked Tennessee team, and over the weekend defeated a ranked LSU team. And that was an excellent game until the fourth quarter when Jaden Daniels, the stud quarterback for LSU, who even though LSU has 3 losses, guys, I still believe Jaden Daniels is the best player in the nation. He should be the Heisman Trophy winner. And if anything, that game over the weekend against Alabama proved it. I mean, once he went out, he took a nasty hit, was driven on his back, his back of his head hit the turf. He finished the rest of the fourth quarter in concussion protocol. And once he was out, LSU had no chance. They couldn't do anything. Offensively, just inept. And we all know their defense is suspect, putting it lightly. But once he left, they had no chance to beat Alabama. So I've got Alabama number 7. And their only loss is it's a quality loss, if there is such a thing. But their only loss was at home in week 2 against the Texas Longhorns. So Alabama, I think, should be right there in the 7 spot. I mean, they take care of their business. They're going to wrap up the SEC West and then advance to the SEC title game. So number 6, the second team out. And I think that this is the best one-loss team in the nation when you look at who they've played and their resume and how they've looked. I got to roll with the Texas Longhorns. The committee has them in the 7 spot. I like them at number 6 because they do have one loss. They're 8-1 on the year. That loss came at a neutral site in the Cotton Bowl and this year's edition of the Red River Rivalry game down in Dallas. They lost to Oklahoma in the last minute. But that big victory on the road at Alabama, that is going to pay off big time for them. Because Alabama did look like early in the season that their offense was finding themselves. But Jaden Milroe and that Alabama Crimson Tide offense has absolutely started to roll. So if it comes down to it, there is no way that I can put Alabama ahead of Texas because Texas beat them head to head. It can't happen, and it's not going to happen. All right? So I like Texas as the top-ranked one-loss team in the nation. Plus, they have beaten Kansas State and Kansas, some other legit competition within the Big 12. All right? So that's numbers 6 through 10. So let's get to the top 5. And please, like, share, subscribe, comment. I can't wait to hear from you. College football fans near and far, get involved. Let your voice be heard. So, number 5. And this is where I also have a little bit of disagreement with the committee. In the 5 spot, I like the Florida State Seminoles number 5 instead of number 4 where the committee have them. Now, I know these next 5 teams are all undefeated. So just hear me out a little bit. And once again, You may not like where I have them, but they will have every opportunity to rise. I like Florida State in the 5 spot because, quite frankly, the ACC it's down. They have a good win over Duke. They have a solid win at Clemson early in the season. But then again, this is a Clemson team with 4 losses. It's not your usual Clemson squad. So the ACC is absolutely down. They have not played North Carolina. Obviously, Florida State is in the catbird seat to get to the ACC title game. But who they're going to face in that title game, it's still completely up in the air. I have no idea. But I think that is not really going to help their resume. It's not. All right? Now, they do have that solid non-conference victory opening week against LSU at a neutral site. Yeah, a neutral site down in Orlando, Florida. So that's a solid victory in non-conference. But like I said, LSU losing over the weekend to Alabama, that's now LSU's 3rd loss of the season. So that big win for Florida State is definitely starting to lose a little bit of its snap, crackle, and pop. All right? It doesn't mean the same that it did 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. All right? So that's why I like Florida State in the 5 hole. But quite frankly, if Florida State runs the table, wins the ACC title game, they're going to be in the college football playoff. You are not going to deny them. Okay? Number 4, I've got the Washington Huskies. All right? The committee has them in the 5 hole, so I just flip-flopped Florida State and Washington. Last week, Washington went on the road to face USC in the Coliseum. They won with a late touchdown. And yes, I know USC is a little bit down, but that was USC's Super Bowl. They knew that they had to win that game to stay in the Pac-12 conference title hunt. And Washington was able to get that victory late. It was back and forth. I mean, it was punch for punch, but the Huskies came out on top. So when you couple that good road win with that excellent win against Oregon, I have got to give the nod for the 4th spot to the Washington Huskies over the Florida State Seminoles. I just do. I think they deserve it. And they've proven it, to this point to me anyway. Number 3, I've also got the Michigan Wolverines in the 3 spot, just like the committee does. Yes, their resume is pretty weak, all right? They have not played really a great or upper echelon team. Their best victory is over Rutgers, who, yes, is bowl eligible. They're not the Rutgers of old, but that's probably Michigan's best win to this point. But they got a big test this week. They go on the road to Happy Valley to take on Penn State. And that big-time matchup awaits at the end of the season with their hated rival to the south, Ohio State. So I got Michigan number 3. And number 2, I still have the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, yes, they scored a very impressive victory over the weekend against the Missouri Tigers. In nearby, which all of the natives here in Missouri were rooting for the Tigers. It was an excellent game. That, hands down, was the best team that Georgia has played and defeated all year. It was a 30-21 victory, so a 9-point victory at home down in Athens over the visiting Tigers. But it was really punch for punch. When you look at the stats, all right, they are basically identical between Missouri and Georgia in that matchup over the weekend. Total yards, passing yards, rushing yards, time of possession, penalties, everything is pretty much a wash. I mean, it is that close, but the thing that stood out, that ended up being the deciding factor, were the 2 turnovers that Missouri made compared to 0 turnovers for Georgia. So Georgia, an impressive victory, but not enough for me to move them up to the 1 spot. They still have a Charmin soft strength of schedule, but they do have a gauntlet here to finish up. They host Ole Miss this week, and then in 2 weeks they go on the road to take on Tennessee on Old Rocky Top. So if they still absolutely can move up one spot to take the one spot. So that leaves Ohio State. I still believe they did enough to remain the number one team in the nation, but they need to look a little bit better. Their resume still looks good. That good win on the road at Notre Dame still looks really good, but it also lost a little bit of snap, crackle, and pop as well, just like the Florida State victory has over LSU, because over the weekend, Notre Dame took a third loss at Clemson. But still, what Ohio State has done by going on the road at Wisconsin, defeating Penn State at home in Columbus, and winning that game in South Bend over Notre Dame, their resume, I still believe, is the best in the country. They are looking a little bit better. This is not the Ohio State offenses of the past. The offense, it's kind of scary to think about. They're still underperforming, but their defense has been absolutely suffocating, all right? So just think, if this offense continues to grow, they're going to be a tough team to beat. So that's my updated college football playoff rankings. Let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, do I have this team too high, that team too low? Who should I maybe have in the top 10? Let me know. I can't wait to hear your opinions. So get involved, comment, like, share, subscribe, click that notification button, and I will be back tomorrow for my big Week 11 picks episode. I'll get you ready for everything that's on tap for the upcoming Week 11. I can't believe Week 11 is already upon us. The season has almost come to an end. It just gets faster and faster every season, it seems like. But tune in tomorrow. Thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Take care. Bye-bye.